following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is the Players Lounge, broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now your hosts, Barry Church, Danny McCray, and Newy Scruggs.
It is that time. Friday, 11 o'clock. Here
Yes, indeed.
in Frisco, Texas. And we're back together.
Yes.
Got the family back together.
All three of us
We back.
in the building.
We back.
Barry Church
Yes,
was off last
indeed.
week. So he's back in the building. Danny McCray in the house. These guys, former players for the Dallas Cowboys. I'm Newy Scruggs, longtime sports anchor here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So we are going to entertain you for an hour with a whole lot of different topics you've got to get to, from Eli Manning to Byron Jones, Antonio Brown, Dez Bryant possibly coming back in the building. But let us start with something that I found very interesting on social media, especially Twitter.
Beef? Is
Yes.
it beef?
Is that what's going on?
What's beef?
Yes,
It's that Jay-Z and Nas beef going on over
The-
here.
Beef of these boys.
entertainment between the NFC champion San Francisco 49ers
The Hot Boys
and the Dallas Cowboys.
and the Hot Boy. 1Z.
That's the difference, huh?
Yes. Yeah.
So
Catch some Z's.
Not
That's
sacks
what
or
it is.
anything like that, just the
The
Z's.
boys and the Hot Boys.
so Tank is basically the CEO of the Hot Boys.
You right.
Okay, all right.
And he deserves to be.
And
After this year.
Tank is selling Hot Boys t-shirts,
He is.
Hot Boys sweatshirts,
Merch. Yeah.
Hot Boys beanies.
CDs, DVDs.
Come and get it.
Come
I got
and
it.
get
Right, he done opened up a little shop in the,
We got pop-up shops.
yeah, in the back of the trunk online. So he is very protective of the name. Well, the San Francisco 49ers defense calls themselves the Hot Boys, and they put two Z's on the end. So Tank is out there on Twitter this week claiming that they're basically imposters and that he's trademarked the name and that they basically saying there could be a cease and desist. And, of course, the 49er faithful jumped on him. You guys,
You know they're gonna defend it,
aren't
boy.
in the playoffs. They're in the Super Bowl. You guys, I mean, they are Tank and company getting lit up. Now, here was poor old Jalen Smith just trying to fly to the Pro Bowl in Orlando.
Swipe his way to the Pro Bowl.
Right? My man trying to get his swipe on. He's on the plane with a Hot Boys beanie. Tank tweets it out, and then Jalen gets dragged into this.
He gets dragged into the fire.
I mean, the
huh?
Twitter comments, man, are just straight cold, and the 49er fans are just trolling. And with each incident, it just put more fuel. It
Throwing that gas on there.
Tank is tweeting back, and it's just, ooh. And I had a longtime NFL writer send me a DM and just said, "What's going on here?" What is going on?
What really is going on?
And just his premise was, this is the problem of the Cowboys. Worrying about the wrong thing. Where is the substance? You're worried about a style and a brand.
No,
That
man.
really takes
I
care
ain't
of
buying
it.
it.
You ain't buying it, Kirk?
I got you. Okay.
This is what I'm getting.
Okay. Somebody said it. It wasn't
Okay.
you.
No, I'm just telling you. This is what a veteran NFL scribe said, and that a conversation needed to be had with the head coach of, hey, this is what your locker room is like, where you've got guys worried about brands and merch and not enough on the winning, the style versus the substance. So that is where we start off,
Okay.
and now I throw it to the floor,
Go ahead,
and
Craig.
immediately.
Yeah,
Oh, I got to ring the bell. Tag
go
me
ahead.
in, bro. Tag me in.
There it is.
Let me tell you something, bro. Look, this is the same. Tank has been doing this with everything. The Hot Boys didn't start this year. The same stats and play that got him the $100 million. It was the same Hot Boys, all right? So it don't have nothing to do with his performance that he's tweeting this out and taking this that serious. Also, it's the offseason. You're right. We're not in the playoffs. What should he be doing? Marketing himself and making some money off the field. He also tweeted out, we are more than just players. He's starting a business, trying to start a legacy, and this is his thing, all right? Now, I will say I'm in a tough position because Quan Alexander is a LSU guy, and he's also trying to trademark the two Z's.
Come on.
He's trying to trademark it, but I'm in Dallas, all right? So I know the Hot Boys to be the guys that walk around this locker room, playoffs or not.
Yeah.
That was their thing.
That's true.
So he got a right to feel the way he do, and if he trademarked it and he making bread off of it, yeah, get off of it. Outside of football, this is business.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, he got all rights to trademark his brand. He's the Hot Boy ambassador. He's the CEO, all this stuff. I just don't understand. The 40, of course they know the Dallas Cowboys are called the Hot Boys. Why go ahead and sit there and say, let me take that name, just add another Z to it?
Add a Z.
You can't be more creative? Like, come on, man. Like, this is crazy. Let them have their name.
And it gets worse because we know that the Cowboys are this big brand, have a lot of sponsors and all this stuff, and other companies have sent the Cowboys gifts with Hot Boys on there, right?
Yeah,
so it's not like it's just their thing where they like, nah, we
It was trademarked.
Yes, there are big brands in here who are buying into this, and it's already been made. They're doing this.
Now,
It is.
this is good. This is good. I'm glad we went here.
Okay.
There's video of one of the original Hot Boys.
Oh, Juvenile.
So
Juvie the Great?
Juvie
Is he
says
co-signing
they
with San
are
Fran?
the new
Yes.
Hot Boys
Ooh.
and gave the blessing and permission to Quan Alexander.
See, that changes everything. That changes everything, man. If Juvie the Great, the original president Hot Boy, says, you know what, y'all got my blessings, and they across the country. It ain't like, they right next to each other. That changes
But
everything to me.
Listen, like
He's
I
anointed.
said,
He
like I
anointed.
said,
He
no,
anointed.
listen,
He ain't anointed
listen,
Dallas.
like I said, I wanted to put the geography into play here. All right, what school did Quan Alexander go to?
LSU.
Where is Juvie in there? Where's the Hot Boy?
Understandable.
This
Understandable.
is Louisiana, so of course, like that's like if Joe Burrow or somebody else that went to LSU said something about something that Boosie says in the song.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he's gonna co-sign it.
Yeah.
he went to
That's
LSU,
true.
like
That's
he's in
true,
Louisiana. But that still don't take away the fact that this wasn't a big thing until DeMarcus Lawrence called them the Hot Boys. He started
Okay.
this.
He
So
did
now they
start
created
it.
the beef. And of course Juvie gonna hop on. Look at him. Nobody was talking about Juvie. When last time
Don't
you
do
met-
that, man.
When the last
do
time
that,
you
man.
talked to I got respect for the songs. You know what I'm saying? But when the last time you mentioned Juvenile?
Just
Here
now.
we go. Y'all see, y'all gonna
I'm
disrespect
just
the man.
saying.
Juvie the Great like that.
I'm not disrespecting him. I'm just
But I'm
saying
just-
we didn't know nobody was
For the
thinking about
9-9
Juvie
and the
until
But that
Yeah.
doesn't really matter when right now he just gave out the name.
Huh?
He just
The name was already gone.
He said you all can use it. He
You
gave
are
it
the
to
Hot
them.
Boys.
You are the new Hot Boys.
Yeah,
So
with
he
two
gave it to
Z's.
him.
With two
because the court say that D. Law and them is the one Z.
In the
all
court
right?
of public, the court,
Did the court say that yet?
Huh? It's
the court say
trademarked,
that?
ain't it?
did he LLC it and all that?
You ain't send no cease and desist if it ain't trademarked.
If he trademarked it in the courts, they gonna get it.
Let me
But
tell you something.
But
He
in the
trademarked
public,
it.
in the public courts,
So
the Hot Boys done got it.
So this is the equivalent of when with Two Live crew leader Luther Campbell was using Luke Skywalker, and then George Lucasfilm came in, and then he had to go to Uncle Luke.
That's about right.
Yeah.
That's what happened to him. So he was using Luke Skywalker. They're like,
And they had
yeah, no.
Let me tell you something. I can almost tell you exactly what D. Law is thinking. Who cares what Juvenile talking about? We are the Hot Boy. We've been saying this. Juvenile wasn't talking none of that when they was calling themselves the Hot Boy. Maybe because he's not a fan of the Cowboys.
Probably
his fault.
so.
You know what I'm saying?
Probably
But just so out of spite, you gonna give somebody the right to use Hot Boy. Nah, the courts did that. The courts gave him the right. By Juvie.
I'm gonna say this: it is corny in the fact that the 49ers tried to take the Hot Boys name from the Cowboys when they could have had their own. There's so many other. You got to be more creative than that, man. That's the one thing I'm gonna give it for. But Juvie talking about they deserve to get it. Juvie says it. Hey, Juvie the Great, man.
T.I.
This
say
is
he
for
the
the
king of the
9-9.
South, and everybody
Who's the boy? Pimp C.
Pimp C. He said if that's
he
the
the
way
king.
if that's what he believed, that's fine. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? That's not, but if he believed that, everybody should believe, whatever they do. So that's fine. I mean,
he believes in it.
But 1Z. I'm with 1Z.
You
baby.
with the 1Z?
Yeah, I'm with the 1Z.
Aye.
I'm with the 1Z. Man.
1Zs.
But everybody, listen, everybody making money out there, man. Go ahead. If you got to start a trademark and you want separate streams of income, do what you got to do. D-Law, I appreciate what you're doing, trying to get everybody out there to find other streams of revenue and show them that you are more than an athlete. Shout out to you.
By the way, Quan has got a whole bunch of new merch that he put out with Hot Boys University. So let's see where this
With
thing
two
goes.
Zs.
Hold on. Speaking of Hot Boys, didn't Taco start Hot Boys?
I think he did. I think Taco started, and then Tank just kind of
took it over, huh?
Just kinda.
So now Quan taking it from D-Law, huh?
It's interesting how all these things
how it
work.
happens.
You know,
That's how
I
it
mean,
happens.
Eazy-E created NWA, but it was Ice Cube that was putting all the music and writing all the lyrics
This is
out
true.
there. And then Dre had the beats, and so this. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
The Hot Boys and Quan Alexander will be playing in the Super Bowl, so they will have a ultimate stage, especially if they win this game, to go ahead and get a jump on the merchandise. But really,
and they still won't sell more merchandise than D-Law now.
And this is going to be interesting on how much and how they're going to use this week. Because you already see it right now, how much they're going to be able to use this week to get them set. Because people want to wear winners. Okay, this is what you want. People want to wear winners.
Let me tell you how crazy this is, though, because everybody speaks about, like, Jerry Jones and being this marketing genius and all that. The Cowboys, not in the playoffs, not in the Super Bowl. Look at this. They will be in Super Bowl talks and merchandise being purchased. Merchandise being purchased just because of the 49ers and the Cowboys' old rivalry. Now they're going to be buying all the Hot Boys gear.
Danny, this goes back to what I talked about before. And this has been a criticism of the Cowboys, the style versus the substance, that there's been so much put into style, but when do you come with the substance to go back with it? Because, yes, I remember Zeke and Dak's rookie year when they were selling the 214 shirts. And I was over there at the Cowboys plant. We did a story for NBC Dallas. I mean, they could not – the presses were going. They had people working overtime. You could not get out a Zeke shirt, a Zeke jersey, a Dak shirt, or the 214. I mean, it was just moving. You take that winning combined with the brand, boom, it's good. Yeah. And that, to me, that's where if I was a Cowboys player, man, I'd be working like crazy because could you imagine what type of opportunities would come if they're in a Super Bowl?
When you think about it, the Hot Boys is big. They go to the playoffs last year. I mean, they lose to the Rams. But my whole thing is when people say, like, how much marketing and all this stuff and they focus on, money and all this, how does making 214 shirts affect the way that Dak and Zeke play the game? Or the way that the game is coached. When they say that, I'm saying it doesn't, right? To me, in my mind, it's like, them dudes ain't thinking about selling no T-shirts while they out there on the field. That's not the reason he missed the pass. That's not the reason Zeke fumbled the ball.
People say that?
People say that the Cowboys focus too much on the brand instead of just focusing on what football is. And they talk about the building and all this other stuff. And I'm like, well, what they got? They still outside on the practice field practicing.
They still working.
Let me put the disclaimer in on the whole 214. That was the Cowboys. They did that. Dak and Zeke didn't have any take in this. This is an endeavor by Tank. This is his own thing.
Oh, no, I'm saying, but the history of it is the Cowboys.
I just want to make sure people understood that.
No doubt.
Because this is not, if you notice, you don't see stars on this at all. In fact, they don't even really use blue as their main color.
You ain't allowed to.
Because this is a total separate thing, entity.
As he wants it to be, though, right? He wants to do more than just play football.
Right. So just make sure, because sometimes people don't understand it. That becomes a part of NFL branding. There was one player here who tried to do something, and this player had a fantastic brand, and he tried to sell some shirts and was using the Cowboy star
that's a no-no.
color.
That's a no-no.
Right. They had to come and tell him, yeah, we like you, but no.
But not that much.
No, my brother.
Listen, make your own thing. He's something outside of the Cowboys. He has that's him.
Okay, so let's move on from the Hot Boys, and we'll see exactly who wins the Super Bowl between the 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll do that next Friday. We'll come up with our picks, and we'll see where we go. By the way, the Kansas City Chiefs, in case some of you youngsters don't know, started off in Dallas. They were the Dallas Texans, owned by Dallas businessman Lamar Hunt. Played 1 year, and the Cowboys also started in 1960. So both franchises started in 1960. The Texans were in the AFL, the American Football League, Cowboys in the NFL. Lamar Hunt ended up taking his team after 1 year up to Kansas City, and they have been there since. So there is a Dallas connection. There we go. And the Hunts still live in Dallas. They've not relocated to Kansas City at all, so they are still right here.
Well, so does my boy Mo Claiborne, who will be playing in the Super Bowl this year, man. Dallas connection. Anthony Hitchens, man. We got some former Cowboys in the Super Bowl, so I guess we all going for the Chiefs, but. Next week we'll put in our scores.
We'll make the prediction. I'm hoping the Chiefs win as well.
Will you be making another bet? Because
no.
San Francisco's going to win. But
I'm just talking about the Popular. I ain't got
it. You going to take my man to Popular.
Yeah, bro. I'm just like, he said he tried to wait for springtime. I told him he wanted to sit outside on the patio. That's why he
I just spent all week in North Carolina, man.
There you go. Okay.
I'm sorry. I couldn't take care of you, man.
He won the Heisman a month ago.
That is.
He's talking about last week.
About a week ago.
See, for a while, I was going to slow play and double or nothing in a Clemson, and he almost got me to do it. And I thought about it. I thought, like, I could just, I'll just wait on Dabo to come on up in here and go double or nothing to get clean.
And got the brakes beat off.
Yeah,
right.
I'm glad I missed that
that was
episode.
mid-January. So it was mid-January. And then I just said to myself, no, man, I don't believe that much. Not in New Orleans, Not in New Orleans. Not in New Orleans.
Oh, here you go with the Dabo thing. We're not going to talk about LSU, but don't sound like Dabo Swinney. It's a home game. They came out, they played well, they got beat. All right, not location. Location doesn't matter.
Is.
You know what? Look, if we're just using common sense, anybody who was going to pick against LSU in New Orleans was dumb anyway. I mean, this is where they have won championship. This is as home field as it gets. But at the same time, everybody knew coming into the year where it was going to be at. Everybody knows.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody knows. Nobody was complaining at the beginning of the year. I mean, it is what it is.
They could have played at Clemson, and Clemson would have won that game.
I'm not going to disagree with you.
Thank you.
But my thing of just the whole, hey, you knew.
Yeah,
you knew.
Yeah,
okay.
that Dabo stuff.
Every year, you know exactly where it's going to be. So, and I'm sure at the beginning of the year, if you said, hey, all right, we're going to make it back to the championship game, but we got to go to Louisiana, the Superdome, and face LSU. Anybody want to go? Everybody's going to raise their hand in Clemson and say we're going to go. Yeah. So, but that's also, you understand Dabo.
You got it, yeah.
He lives and has lived off, hey, man, we're the underdog. That's just him.
That's just
he was right.
They definitely got the brakes beat off him. I tell you that
right.
much.
All right, let's dive into Eli Manning, who within the last hour officially retired from the New York Giants. So you guys have spent those games playing against Eli Manning. Give me your Eli thoughts.
For me, I thought Eli was a good quarterback. I did intercept him twice, so shout out to Eli for that one. But appreciate you. But I think he was a good quarterback, man. He led his team. He showed up in the biggest games that mattered. In the playoff runs, I'm not sure if any other quarterback has had success in the playoffs like he's had besides, Tom Brady and those guys. But I feel like Eli is a great quarterback. He plays great in the clutch. And above everything else, he beat the dynasty twice in the Super Bowl. So, and he did it with just, he had Plexico Burress. He had, I forget the guy with the helmet catch, but he had him. He had David Tyree, Ahmad Bradshaw. It ain't like he had world beaters. He didn't have Randy Moss out there. He didn't have all these guys out there. And he was still able to perform at a high level. His first Super Bowl, he had a great defense. Second one, I'm not so sure about, but I think he was a great quarterback. And Hall of Fame, kind of second guessing it, but I think he gets in maybe second or third ballot.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna get into the Hall of Fame talk. I'm not sure.
No, we do. We need to.
As far as I got one pick off Eli as well. But I think he was a good quarterback. I think he played well, like you said, that clutch gene. He did have a great team around him, but we've seen quarterbacks with great teams around them still not be able to come up with it in the end. And he did that twice, right? So holding nothing against Eli, I think he was great. It was a little sad to see how it ended for him those last 2 years, with getting benched and coming back. But I think with him finally accepting it, being able to retire and move on to something else, I'm happy for him. Good luck to him in whatever he does next.
Go ahead.
Let's go back into what has been next, and that is Eli Manning a Hall of Famer? And I'm just going to reference exactly what you both said, because I made sure I wrote it down, because I've started to do this now. When people talk about Eli Manning, you first said good. You said good. Later on, you said great.
Depending on the moment.
Yeah.
He was good in the regular season. When he got to those stretches where he had to be clutch, he was great.
You just look at his record.
In the clutch.
He's 117 and 170. That's the only guy.
500 record.
Yeah.
And to me, and I don't know if you guys ever been to Canton, Ohio. And I've been there. I used to live in Cleveland. I mean, it is a special place. It's been there many times. It is a place for the greats. It's not a place for the good or the very good. It's great. No one is saying, really, Eli Manning had a great career. He had great moments.
Right.
That's
the
true.
Super Bowl was a great moment to beat a New England Patriot team that was going to go down as the greatest team in NFL history. Yes, Eli Manning had a great game. Ended up having another great finish in that Super Bowl. I was there in Indianapolis when they ended up beating New England and came from behind. I mean, great performance. I just don't think great moments equate a great career. I go back to, just for Cowboy fans, to make it really simple. When DeMarco Murray won the NFL Offensive Player of the Year as a free agent, I said, look, I don't think you should pay a great a great contract to a guy who had a great year, because I don't believe DeMarco Murray is a great running back. I think he's a good running back who had a great year. I think Eli Manning was a good quarterback who had 2 great runs to win Super Bowls. I don't think that puts him in camp. He never was an NFL Offensive Player of the Year. He was never an MVP. He was never first team All-Pro.
Yeah, he was never All-Pro.
He had 4 Pro Bowls. When you start talking about the Pro Bowls, I think Tony had at least 3, maybe 4. Same in his career. Dak's already got 2. And so the guy had some seasons where they were subpar.
He led the league in interceptions 3 years.
I mean, I just think to me, when I think of Hall of Fame, I have to attach the word great to you. Eli Manning was not a great player.
So he's not getting in on your
If
account.
I had a vote, I would not give it to Eli Manning.
So how much do you think Super Bowls weigh in when you're doing that voting process?
Yeah, I was going to say, people have to be careful with this Super Bowl thing.
What will happen in Eli's favor, he played for the New York Giants. And he will get, because it's New York, and then New York beat New England and Bill Belichick, the dynasty.
Twice.
It's going to sway a lot of people that way. I was listening to Therese Paylor of Yahoo NFL Sports, and on his podcast, and he has a vote, and that stuff swayed his way. But he has what he calls his algorithm about all these things that he puts into, whether or not a guy should be in the Hall. Boomer Esiason had a better number in his algorithm that he used. I go back to Jim Plunkett, and this was before your time. Jim Plunkett was the quarterback of the Raiders. They were the first wild card team to win a Super Bowl. They were a underdog against the Philadelphia Eagles in Super Bowl 15 at the Superdome. They ended up winning that game, 27-10. Then they end up in Super Bowl 18. This is when Washington was already the defending champion. They had set a record for points scored. That's when they had the fun bunch.
I mean, this was high-fiving in the end zone.
Right. This was a great team. They had John Riggins. I mean, this was a great NFL team about to become a dynasty. The Raiders on Black Sunday ended up beating the brakes off of them, and Marcus Allen was the MVP. But here's Jim Plunkett with 2 Super Bowls, and underdog in both games. He wasn't the MVP of any of the games, but still, this guy can't get in. This guy was a good quarterback who had 2 really great runs. So why do we change it for Eli Manning? Because he's in New York? Because we like him? Because he was a class player?
He was also an MVP in both of those Super Bowls.
He's also a Manning. So don't forget that'll get swayed.
But he didn't get dragged to his second Super Bowl like Peyton did. I feel like in his second, he won it. He won both of his Super. He was the MVP in both of them.
Yeah. Did Nick Foles win Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Yeah, he got MVP.
Yeah, he got MVP too. So you said Nick Foles. You compare Nick Foles to Eli Manning.
This is what I was saying with Newy when you start talking about those type of things to get you in. If you have a horrible, not an okay regular season, and then all of a sudden in the playoffs you become this great player, and then you're Super Bowl MVP and you win a Super Bowl. So now Nick Foles has a Super Bowl MVP,
but he didn't do it
Super Bowl, and he beat the Patriots.
Twice,
I know, I'm saying, but even if you do it once, you have that on your record. So do you say just because you got that, you should be somewhere on the ballot?
I think he should be.
Nick Foles?
Not Nick Foles.
No, I'm talking about Nick Foles.
I'm
saying I'm not saying that Eli shouldn't be whatever. I'm saying when you start talking about and you start listing accolades, you have to think about the entirety of the career versus just that moment, like Newy said, because you can go in and win the Super Bowl and win MVP and get a statue and all that stuff, but Nick Foles not getting into the Hall of Fame. So the entirety of what the even record was 171. The entirety of his career, 117. The entirety of that is what you got to look at.
Which one outweighs more? 2 Super Bowl MVPs or the 117?
The entirety of your career.
There's a lot of missed playoff years there. And even when they won the first Super Bowl, it was a wild card team. And granted, Eli Manning and that team went on a fantastic run. They beat Tampa. And that was one of those Gruden's teams toward the end.
Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay.
So then they go beat Tampa. Then they come and face the Cowboys, the number 1 seed at Texas Stadium. They win that. Then they go to the NFC Championship game at Lambeau Field. They get it done in overtime. Then you face a undefeated New England Patriots team that's about to set a record for wins ever and actually they did in regular season wins. And we hadn't seen the team was 18-0, but then they make them 18-1. I mean, it was a great run. It was a phenomenal run. But in 16 years, there were not. You had 2 great runs, but there was a lot of downs.
The entirety of the career.
And he was okay. When you talk about Aaron Rodgers being one of the greats, he's not. I mean, Patrick Mahomes already has more. He's won an MVP.
All right, let me ask you this. So if Aaron Rodgers retires next year, do you put him in the Hall of Fame?
Bingo. This is done. He's done.
He's in the Hall of Fame.
He's in.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, the entirety of what he's able to do. It's not very many bad things or bad seasons or missed playoff like that. It's not the same as Eli. Eli, 16 years, like you said, 2 Super Bowls, a lot of questionable
first
stuff.
Team All-Pro.
Even when you
how many years was in the playoffs? What about Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs?
He smoked us.
What about Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs?
This is a good step because I was talking to somebody the other day and they were talking about the Packers and he said, "Look, one of the big issues in Aaron's career has been how bad the defenses have been." I believe he has.
Wait a second. So we.
No. Listen. How bad the defense has been in these losses. I believe he has either 8 or 10 playoff losses. And in those losses, the Packer defenses have given up 36 points, averaged 36 points, and in the wins, they've averaged 17. And then this person was telling me, the defensive coordinator was saying, "Look, at some point in time, what Green Bay needed to do is address more of their defensive needs. And just how much does the defense help you out?" Now, you think about those Giants teams against the Patriots. The Patriots weren't scoring a whole bunch of points on those teams. They had
they D-line was vicious.
Yeah.
Strahan, OC, JPP.
They was nice. They came to all them boys.
He basically, you also do need help, by the way. And he says, as great as Aaron Rodgers has been, but you basically, and his whole point was, you're basically saying, Aaron, we need you to go win the game.
Okay.
That was his thing about
in your mind. You assume that he had a chance to do it.
He did win with that great defense in 2010. So we're gonna say that's all Aaron Rodgers winning that? We're not gonna say his defense.
No. Like I said, I'm still talking about the entirety of his career, right? Okay. When you think of Aaron Rodgers coming into your building, it's a different thought than when you think of Eli Manning coming into your building. When we watch film in there and Eli was coming, you say, you know what? It's time to get picks. Yeah. You didn't say that about A-Rod. You said, man, I'm just saying, but you was like, hey, you better be on your P's and Q's because Aaron Rodgers making you like a fool.
That's true.
You be like, there's a lot of times we sit there and watch the TV. You say, is Eli throwing with his eyes closed?
He did. Yeah, you're right.
He throw the 7 route with some accuracy, but other than that, man, the dude was a little shaky. If you comparing those 2 guys,
I got you.
Your game plan for them 2 is totally different.
It is different because Aaron Rodgers can make different type of throws. I get what you're saying.
Oh yeah,
I get what you're saying.
And just rolling out just some of the career stats. We're looking at Aaron Rodgers, obviously, Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP. 2 times he won the NFL MVP. And
that's huge. That's huge.
That's big time. 8-time Pro Bowler, 2-time first team All-Pro, second team All-Pro once. Associated Press Male Athlete of the Year, set the career mark for NFL passer rating at 102.4. In the season, he set it 122.5 in 2011. The touchdown-interception ratio is fantastic. 402 consecutive passes without interception. When you talked about Aaron Rodgers, you talked about his greatness, and then you measure him. Okay, who are the people you were playing up against? People are talking. Aaron Rodgers is that.
That's right.
Yeah.
You never said that about Eli.
This is true.
Ever. Never said that about Eli.
This is true.
And that's when I talk about, I'm writing down and saying you are one of the greats.
Okay.
I don't feel Eli's that. I feel like he had 2 great runs and had a really good 16-year career. But I just don't put it there.
Okay.
I'm also
by 14.
I'm also probably going to be in the minority. All right, we got to sit up here and take a break, but when we come back, some words about Sanjay Lal that may surprise you.
Let's see.
And why he's no longer the wide receivers coach with the Dallas Cowboys. This is the Players Lounge. He's Barry Church. He's Danny McCray, and I'm Newy Scruggs.
I'm Jay Novacek, former tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. Back in the day, I was the guy who always got the tough yards, and that's why I run with John Deere today. In fact, I have a John Deere 3025E tractor that can handle any yard work I need to do, even the tough yards way out back. So if you have 1 acre or 1,000, John Deere has the equipment that's just right for you. Visit a John Deere dealer today and run with us. We are the official tractor provider of your Dallas Cowboys.
Essilor is a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, helping fans see more and do more with our best vision solutions. Our lens technologies reveal a world more beautiful than you can imagine. For a limited time, get the Essilor Next Gen offer. When you buy the latest generation of Transitions lenses with select Essilor lenses, you can choose a second pair of clear lenses for free with qualifying frame purchases. Restrictions apply. Find a participating eye care professional by visiting EssilorUSA.com. Essilor. See more, do more.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Your new apartment's big. Such a great deal.
It's okay.
Just okay? What's not to...
Right above the subway!
Well, I bet you don't even notice it after the...
That's my neighbor, Angus.
A deal that's just okay is not okay. Get a great deal with America's Best Network. Come into an AT&T store to find out how to get one of our popular smartphones for $0 down, based on GWS One score September 2019.
Back to the Players Lounge.
Newy Scruggs, longtime sportscaster here at Dallas-Fort Worth. Barry Church.
Yes, sir.
Former Dallas Cowboys player. Danny McCray, former Dallas Cowboys player.
Yep.
This is the Players Lounge. We do it every Friday from the Star. Barry was not with us last week when we spoke about Drew Pearson, so Barry was asking a couple questions at the break. So let me just kind of go ahead and give you that whole Drew Pearson run. And I was at Drew's house. So I worked 13 years with Drew on Sunday nights at NBC5. So I have a great knowledge of this because Drew and I spoke many times about it. So Drew Pearson is now the only member of the all-decade 1970s first team who is not in. There were 2 first-team members not in before they came out with the Centennial class. It was Cliff Harris, safety with the Cowboys, who played in 5 Super Bowls, 2 wins, and Drew. I mean, they even put the punter, Ray Guy, in. So with these 2 guys, Drew didn't get in. The all-70s second-team receiver, Harold Carmichael, got Drew's spot before him. So when we were watching it, and Harold Carmichael was a third name out there, I immediately said, they're going to put 3 receivers in. I said they would put in 2 because it was 10. It was 10 players that were going to get in. I said, and beforehand, I wrote it, and I even told Drew, I said, Drew, it'll be you and Max Speedy that'll get in. That's what I'm thinking, because Max Speedy was a guy that played for the Cleveland Browns, great player, had been overlooked all decade, guy needed to be in. So I figured it would be the 2 first-team guys. Harold gets in. I'm thinking, man, it's going to be 3. Then I get tipped off Cliff Harris is going to get in. And this was before the announcement of Cliff. I go back to someone who told me they're not going to put 3 Cowboys in. They'll put in 2 of this class. They're not going to put, because it was a total of 15. So they'll put in 2. They will not put in 3. Well, Jimmy Johnson had got in. So now I knew Cliff got in.
That's it.
And Harold's in. Now I know we're in trouble. And then the last person who got in was Max Speedy. So now Drew Pearson, since the 1930s, and you go into first-team all-decade wide receivers, there are 18 of them. 17 are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Drew is the only one who's not in. Don't look at numbers, because if people look at numbers today, they'll say, oh, he didn't have any numbers, and I'm sitting here trying to educate people on Twitter. There's a different football game. What you're watching today is not the kind of football that was played in the 1970s. You as a defensive back could sit up here and run the whole route. A guy runs down the field. You could push him, mug him, hit him, do whatever. You can't do that today. And quarterbacks, you was getting hit high. I mean, they were roughing the guys. I mean, there's a different football game. Here is the issue for Drew Pearson. The entire time, after he retired in 1983, and once he was eligible as a modern-day era candidate, he was never put on the ballot to be discussed in the room. Okay? Steve Atwater's name is going to be discussed in the room next week, next Saturday. Drew never got in the room. This was the first time Drew got in a room. Over 30 years, first team guy. The writers failed Drew Pearson. So now Drew has moved into the seniors category. So the hope next year to try to get him in the class of 2020 is come August when they start talking again about senior candidates, is that Drew can get on that list. Now, here comes the tough part. They'll only put in 2 senior candidates in the class of 2021. But his case is going to be stronger. 2 ways this is a better opportunity for Drew. This class of 2020 will be voted on senior writers. There will be nobody else like a Bill Belichick and a Bill Polian, people who might think a little bit differently. Mm-hmm. These writers are going to have to face the fact that according to the very criteria they set, they have denied a man who has earned, and I say this all day long and I'll fight anybody, Drew Pearson has earned a Hall of Fame jacket based on the criteria that the writers have used to induct people in.
Let me ask you a question. Is there a difference when they say like senior Hall of Fame? Like, is there an asterisk beside it, or is Hall of Fame just Hall of Fame?
Hall of Fame. Right. And so what the senior committee is about is over time, guys get passed over. Some guys will fall through the cracks. Mm-hmm. And that's what the senior committee was made up to do, to say, hey, look, you know what? We've got some guys who we missed on, that we as the Hall made a mistake, and we need to correct the error. Okay. And now that they have the contributors category, one reason they have the contributors category is they're saying, you know what? There's some people who really have played a major part in the National Football League. But according to how we vote right now, 5 modern-day people, 2 seniors, they probably won't get in. It's very hard to get in it. So that's how someone like Jerry Jones ended up making it.
I got you.
Because they wanted to say there are people out here who've made a major contribution to pro football and how we see it, that we can't tell the game without them. But it's really hard because you want to try to reward the players. Yeah. One of the next categories that they're going to come up with is they're going to have to figure out a way to put some assistant coaches into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Because there are some guys who are great assistants, weren't necessarily the guys head coaches, but made a difference over a long period of time, that you have to say, you know what, you made a difference. Now that we're seeing general managers get in, George Young, who helped build those Giants teams, that guy is now in. We have to make sure we recognize these people, because the process, honestly, you don't let a lot of people in. That's one great thing, what makes it special, but they know they've excluded some people. So that back to your point about the seniors, the hope is Drew's on the ballot in August. And as they go through the process and whittle it down, that Drew is one of the finals, because his case is strong. And you look at the people you've passed over. So first team, all 1970s, 2 wide receivers, Lynn Swann, Drew Pearson. Lynn Swann in. By the way, it took Lynn Swann way too long to get in.
Yeah, I agree.
So Paul Warfield, second team. Harold Carmichael, second team. They're in. John Stallworth, neither first nor second team.
Yeah,
they voted him in. You have no more excuses. This is a guy you have to put in. He's got the memorable moments. He's got a Super Bowl ring. He checked off all the boxes that they say you should have to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So at this point in time, I've said to Drew personally, I said, it's time to start shaming him. When I showed the video of Drew at his house, walking away in tears, I wanted people to see that. This is what you have done. This is what you've done to a man who has earned the jacket. It's one thing if you don't win and you don't earn it. But this guy earned it. He checked all the boxes.
Did it the right way.
So it's not a matter of if. It's just when. He's 69 years old. What I would say to anybody on the committee, the seniors committee, is, look, let's not ever have another Ken Stabler situation. For years.
You already gone.
Kenny Stabler had, to me, a resume that said, look, you were one of the great quarterbacks of the 70s. No, he wasn't first or second team all decade, because that went to Terry Bradshaw and Rod Staubach. But when you talk about the great teams of the 70s, it was the Vikings, it was the Cowboys, it was the Steelers, it was the Dolphins, and it was the Raiders. No team won more games than the Raiders of the 70s. He got a Super Bowl win. I mean, trying to win a Super Bowl when you had the Miami Dolphins, who went perfect, who won 2 back-to-back Super Bowls, the Steelers, who won 4 Super Bowls. If you just got into the Super Bowl back then, it was hard. It was like trying to get in while Michael Jordan, trying to get to the finals in the East when Michael Jordan was playing. I mean, they were that good. Or trying to get to a Super Bowl out of the AFC while the Patriots are going. That's how tough the competition was in the 70s, man. It was hard. And Kenny Stabler, in my opinion, was a Hall of Fame quarterback. And when you talked about the great quarterbacks, you had to talk about a snake. I mean, they were throwing the ball. That was Al Davis. We're going deep. I mean, you know, he wasn't dinking and dunking. He was coming out there straight.
Nothing but speed.
That's all he wanted. 4-2, first round.
You put Bob Greasy in. I mean, you look at Bob Greasy's. I think Bob Greasy won a Super Bowl. I think he threw maybe 8 or 11 passes. I mean, and not beating up Bob. He did what they asked him to do. But that year they went undefeated. Earl Morrall won more games because Greasy was hurt. And then the second Super Bowl, you know, Greasy was never the MVP of any of them. Right, one of the defensive guys was MVP. The second one, Zonka was the MVP of the first one. That was a running football team. They didn't throw the ball, but he was in because he helped them win. So to me, you can't sit around here and say Stabler wasn't worthy because he was right there, and he wanted it so bad and he died. Cliff Branch was also on the ballot. Cliff did not get in. I spoke to Cliff at the Texas Black Sports Hall of Fame about 3-4 years ago. I said, man, you deserve to be in. He was on 3 Super Bowl teams. He was on Super Bowl 11, Super Bowl 15, and 18. That's a long time, man, because it was, you talk about from 1976 to 1983, and the guy played with 3 different quarterbacks. I mean, the guy was definitely one of the you talk about 3 Super Bowls. He was on all 3 Raiders Super Bowl teams. Deserved his spot, but didn't get in, and he died. And I just think, what a shame. We can't keep trying to, all right, Barry's dead now. Let us honor Barry. Man, we're sorry. Barry's family, we're sorry we didn't put him in when he was here and he was alive. It took him dying for us.
Long live Barry Church.
Right. Or what's worse is watching one of Jim Brown's teammates. It was a guard they put in, and I was there, and the man couldn't speak. Frank Tarkenton, that wasn't Frank Tarkenton, it was somebody else. I think it was his son who did it. And then there was another one, Mick Tinglehoff, a center, who was Frank Tarkenton's center with the Vikings on 4 Super Bowl teams. He wasn't able to speak articulately. He was old and was in a wheelchair. It was just like...
You don't want to go in like that.
Well, when you know, Barry, when you've seen the Vikings, 4 Super Bowl teams, this guy was a starting center. Fran Tarkenton ends up making the Pro Football Hall of Fame. When Fran retired, nobody had thrown for more yards than him. The guy was a great, prolific quarterback. This guy that, you got to have some people there helping you along the way. And then they decide to wait until the dude can't stand up there and give his own speech. I'm like, what are you doing?
It's filthy.
What are you doing? Why are we waiting to wait? We got to wait till you all jacked up to say, "Hey, man, my bad." So that's my 2 cents.
They're gonna take care of Drew next year.
Yeah, hopefully Drew get in there next year.
I'm starting to shame people into trying to do that. If it worked for Terrell Owens,
Here we go.
Might as well.
You don't think T.O. should have been the first ballot?
No. No, I do not.
What's the next?
No, you don't think so? Look, okay, and we talk. That's one thing, Barry, that clouds some of this stuff. But we talk about numbers. I also think that winning is a part of this. And by the way, how many teams couldn't wait to get rid of the guy?
That's true.
So, and here was also the issue for me. You could have made the argument that Michael Irvin, Chris Carter, Andre Reed, Tim Brown, you could have said these guys were all first teamers as well. They all had to wait. Lynn Swann was a part of 4 Super Bowl teams, was a Super Bowl MVP as a player. That dude had to wait almost 10 years to get it. I mean, he was so mad at something that, hey, brother, guess what? You're not the first great player who didn't get in.
Had to wait, yeah.
When you tell me first ballot guy, it's a Jerry Rice. It's an Emmitt Smith. It's a dude where you just... T.O. was never first team all decade.
I think he should have been, though. Look, I mean,
okay.
Look at these, like the if we talking about Pro Football Hall of Fame, to get in the pro, are we talking about just football?
Do you know who the first? Okay, do you know who the first teamers were?
Let me tell me.
Okay, it was Randy Moss.
Okay.
It was Marvin Harrison.
Okay, T.O.'s better than both of those guys.
Okay.
On the field. T.O.
I don't know. He better than Randy? He's not better than Randy Moss.
And when you
Are you serious?
When you want to go numbers,
Randy Moss better than T.O.
Please.
When you want to go numbers?
No.
Go ahead.
Remember who Marvin played with?
Peyton.
He had numbers.
He had. You sitting there telling me those two are better than Terrell Owens?
Yes.
I'm going to just
I'm talking
sit here and talk about
just strictly
Randy
football.
Moss is better than T.O. football-wise.
And Randy was first back. So, yes, you are correct. You are correct. Yes.
Anybody ever say you got T.O.? You got Moss.
So we just saying, we talking about catchphrase or numbers?
The whole package.
Check Randy's numbers.
Who got better numbers?
Check Randy's numbers.
Please do.
And listen, Randy was better than T.O. Your Marvin Harrison thing,
How? If we're talking about numbers and T.O.'s numbers are better than Randy Moss, how is Randy Moss better than T.O.?
All right, here, just so you know, here was your, you go back, it was 2000 for the 2000s. Your all-decade team, first team wide receivers, it's Moss and Harrison. Your second team, Torrey Holt and Terrell Owens. Now, keep in mind, all three are in. Holt is on the ballot this year. Mm-hmm. So if Torrey's not in, he will get in. I mean, because just start looking at the guys on the list and how they do things, they'll find their way in. I don't think that there's ever a debate about Randy from the time this guy came in here as a rookie and set rookie records to setting the all-time mark of most touchdowns in a season. And you got to think about this with Tom Brady. Tom Brady's greatest year when he threw 15 touchdown passes, it was with Randy Moss. Dante Culpepper comes in as a rook, and you see the kind of numbers. Randall Cunningham was a backup player, and all of a sudden goes to Minnesota and revives his career, throwing it to Randy Moss. I mean, Randy Moss is a weapon that we have, one of those rare weapons that you just don't see very often.
So T.O. wasn't that weapon?
Not like Randy Moss.
Not like Randy Moss. So go to the numbers. Y'all saying they're like T.O.'s numbers aren't what they were.
I'm telling you, watching the game, that I think Randy Moss was better
back to
than
the Eli conversation. Are we talking about the length of the career and what you've done in your career, or just a couple runs and plays here and there?
No, we talking about the entirety of his career. And Randy Moss's career was.
So whose numbers were better?
Okay, I'm just going down here.
Here you go. You back on the numbers with Nick Foles. Nick Foles got the MVP.
We just got done saying
Nick Foles
we
got
talking about the career mark.
Yes.
Not just a run. So we're talking about the whole numbers, right?
As in what he's done, and we've watched the game. Yeah. You apparently think when you watching a T.O. that you think that he played better than Randy Moss. I think Randy Moss played better.
If the numbers back me, then how's that wrong?
I don't know, because we also talk about how Drew Pearson changed the game.
All right, go ahead. So you're into your numbers, and this is a very, very even split. So numbers-wise, when it comes to receptions, Marvin had more, 1,102. Terrell had 1,078. They're basically the same. Yeah. When it comes to receiving yards, Marvin, 14,580. T.O., 15,934. When it comes to receiving touchdowns, Terrell with a bigger mark, 153 to 128.
Where's Moss in this one?
Moss
wasn't even.
Okay, I'm putting Moss over here.
He wasn't even in there.
No, he put him as he's already better than
so we ain't even so we ain't going through the numbers.
Moss is better than both.
Moss better than T.O.
Y'all just doing it off of looks. Y'all ain't going after actual facts.
We going on watching the game. We
talking about facts though.
Go ahead, Dewey.
Go ahead.
All right,
so T.O. got him in yards and touchdowns.
Yeah, so here's Marvin, just some statistics since you're into the career highlights and stats here. Marvin, 8-time Pro Bowler, 3-time first-team All-Pro, 5-time second-team All-Pro, 2-time NFL receiving yards leader, 99 in 2002, NFL receiving touchdowns co-leader in 2005. 2-time NFL receptions leader 2 years in a row. All-Decade Team 2000, 100th anniversary NFL anniversary team there. Let me go back here over to Terrell. 6-time Pro Bowler, 5-time first team All-Pro, 3-time NFL receiving touchdowns leader, NFL Decade second team. They're very comparable, but Marvin got the nod. Give me Marvin Harris.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I did.
Here we go. Now let's do.
I think Moss was a better receiver than.
Now go back to what you said when you talked about first ballot. Marvin wasn't first ballot. Terrell wasn't first ballot. It's hard. Okay, we're not talking about writing. But if I am writing down you're in, Moss was in.
For what? Because of his numbers, or just
the numbers, the dominant weapon? There was no better wide receiver during his time.
But if the man had better numbers, how are we going to sit there and say he's not as dominant as Moss? How are we? I just don't understand that.
I say he's a better player than Terrell.
All right, I guess. I just don't understand if the numbers back it up. How can we sit there and say he's not better?
All right, here's your Moss. Okay. Here's your Moss.
The 3 main categories: reception, yards, and TDs.
Receptions, he had less than both men.
Okay.
982.
So Marvin Harrison was better than Randy Moss?
Well, we ain't done yet.
No, I'm asking.
Oh, is Marvin Harrison better than Randy Moss? No.
Yardage.
Okay, because his numbers are worse.
Yardage, 15,292. So more than Harrison, less than Moss. When it comes
less than Owens.
Less than Owens.
Yeah, less than Owens. When it comes to receiving touchdowns, he had more. He had
two
more
less
than both. He had more than both.
That's two less than
Owens. At 156.
He had more
TDs?
touchdowns.
What about TDs?
He said he had more.
Yeah, TD.
Oh, so he got more TDs, but less receiving yards and less receptions.
Less receiving yards, but how many? A couple hundred? Was it 15,000? How many did T.O. have?
T.O. had 15,934.
And Moss had 15,000 what?
992.
How many TDs he had?
TDs. T.O. had 3 less.
Not TDs. I'm sorry.
They're both
comparable. And the numbers for sure that T.O. was better.
The man got more touchdowns. He got 200 less yards, maybe
less,
and less catches. So he got less catches, more touchdowns, and 200 less yards. Come on, man.
He got less.
He over here talking like T.O. is definitely better than Moss.
He was better.
You over here like you can't believe that we would say that Moss was better than T.O.
He was better.
The man got more touchdowns.
The stats back me.
Your stats may back you.
Wait, wait. The stats? Are you really about to? The man got less catches.
Are we doing this on opinions or facts? That is all I want to know. Are we doing it on opinions or facts? The man got 200 less yards, 3 more touchdowns. So he scored more. What you basing this on?
Here's what we know. Moss was first ballot. Terrell was.
So you by yourself in this thought.
The people who vote on this is what they thought.
People who vote on this also made Pearson wait all these decades. But they're right, though.
But he's still the same thing, though. Marvin Harrison got more catches than Randy Moss, but he said Moss is better than Harrison.
All right. We
just talk about numbers. That's
not
accurate. The numbers.
We've taken this argument way too far here. Way too far, okay? I'm still supposed to talk about Sanjay Law. And talk about Sanjay Law not being here. Let's take a break. We'll get back into Sanjay. Boy, the hour has flown by on the Players Lounge.
Oh, man. It did go quick.
Yeah, it did.
Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Want to show your Texas and team pride too? You can. By purchasing your own Stetson, you can look just like how the flag guys do on field at every home game. Stetson hats, the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys and your favorite football team. Get yours today in the Stadium Pro Shop or at Stetson.com.
Your new apartment's big. Such a great deal.
It's okay.
Just okay? What's not too?
It's right above the subway.
Well, I bet you don't even notice it after the...
That's my neighbor, Angus.
A deal that's just okay is not okay. Get a great deal with America's Best Network. Come into an AT&T store to find out how to get one of our popular smartphones for $0 down. Based on GWS 1 score, September 2019.
Essilor is a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, helping fans see more and do more with our best vision solutions. Our lens technologies reveal a world more beautiful than you can imagine. For a limited time, get the Essilor Next Gen offer. When you buy the latest generation of Transitions lenses with select Essilor lenses, you can choose a second pair of clear lenses for free with qualifying frame purchases. Restrictions apply. Find a participating eye care professional by visiting EssilorUSA.com. Essilor. See more, do more.
So, you're shopping, and that's when you see it. Aisle 23. Dr. Pepper stacked from top to bottom as far as the eye can see. The phrase too good to be true comes to mind, yet there it is. A rich, delicious Dr. Pepper paradise. Wait, did that can of Dr. Pepper just open itself for you? They all are. As if to say, so nice to treat you. And even though it feels weird to talk to a can, you pick one up and say, it's so nice to be treated. Dr. Pepper, so nice to treat you.
Back to the Players Lounge.
T.O. all
like
day,
it's not
man.
even close.
T.O. all day,
Spend the whole break arguing.
Get your popcorn ready.
Yeah,
Randy
talking
Moss.
about timeout. So that's what T.O.'s timeout was.
Get your waivers papers ready because the team has decided they're done with all your antics. Terrell, set the Bills, Bengals. I mean, Carson.
We gonna act like Randy Moss ain't do that either? We gonna act like Randy Moss ain't do that either? Come on, man.
All I know is when they did that T.O. or Football Life.
Straight cash, homie. Where we going?
Only one quarterback would agree to be interviewed to talk about it.
Come on,
they
man.
talking about
on.
this dude.
We act like Randy Moss was quitting on cats out there too.
Tom Brady talked about Randy Moss.
So he quit and had more touchdowns. No, I'm kidding. Cool.
No, come on.
All right, Barry Church, Danny McCray. I'm Newy Scruggs. By the way, tonight I will be at the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo.
There it is.
They made a cowboy hat for me. I got cowboy boots.
Good.
I got a vest. I'm going to do a live shot at 10 o'clock tonight, so make sure
we're going to check you out.
We're going to check it out, man. We're going to check it out.
All you got to do, you can watch it on Channel 5. If you're not in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, get the app, NBC DFW app. So you can watch me.
You better look smooth and clean out there, man. Don't be out there misrepresenting, all right?
Yeah, don't do that.
Trust me.
You're going to hear about it.
Oh, I know. That's why I told them I need some boots. I was like, I don't have any boots. I never wore a pair of boots, so going to be right there. All right, as we get ready to close the show, Sanjay Lal, Cowboy wide receiver, not coach, not coming back. Adam Henry is reported to be coming in. So I was listening to Jacques Taylor, good buddy of mine. We used to work together. Jacques Taylor was saying that he had a source inside the Star that talked about how bad Sanjay Lal was as a coach, and that Sanjay Lal was a technical guy who sweet-talked Jason Garrett into a job, and he wasn't good, and said, do not judge Amari Cooper based on Sanjay Lal or even Michael Gallup. And then for well, how did these guys have the number? Like, hey, these guys were that kind of talent, that Sanjay Lal is not good. Now, I will tell you this. I know someone who used to work on 2 staffs with Sanjay Lal who thought that Sanjay was not good at his job, and when he got the job, he said, how'd that guy get a job? He said, you know what? When Chris Hogan left Buffalo, he was just a guy. He ends up going to New England and helps them go to Super Bowls. Then he said, you know what? Robert Woods was there with Sanjay Lal. Robert Woods was just a guy in Buffalo. Goes out there to the Rams. Next thing you know, this guy's straight ball. And he says, how good is Sanjay? He said, he's not good. And this thing was repeated. Now, I always say this, success leaves clues. Cowboys just had 2 1,000-yard receivers, right?
Yeah.
Sanjay's jobless. Jobless right now.
Man, you know.
Is it good?
I have. Listen,
this is the man with the bricks, right?
And the bricks, and they said that they thought that Sanjay didn't understand the offense. He didn't really understand the concepts of the offense for the Cowboys. So yes, so on the way out, Sanjay Lal with a scathing criticism of him, also not kept in. So Adam Henry is going to be coming here, but yes, Sanjay not there. So this was also one of the issues of how do you judge Amari Cooper. And Amari Cooper, as I said, the source had told Jacques, because I told you, I said, guy wasn't 100%. Even though he said he was fine, wasn't hurting, the guy wasn't. The guy was not there. And then how do you judge Amari Cooper when you've got a wide receivers coach that you don't think highly of?
I'm going to tell you something. Them last 6 games, I hope he was hurt.
Yeah, you right about that.
He better have been hurt. I don't hear nothing about coaching. The only thing that make you play that bad as that caliber receiver is being hurt, not your coaching.
And I told you. I didn't think the guy was straight. Mm-hmm. You know, he came into the season injured, and he had a decent year by his standards. But there's still a guy I want. Also, all right, Byron Jones. It's another thing that Jacques had brought up on his show, Jam Session on ESPN Dallas here. That Byron Jones, 73 games, 2 picks, and they're trying to decide what type of number they give him. I forgot that Byron's an older player. He's 28 years old. How much? Yes. Remember, he played all 4 years at UConn. So you're talking about trying to give a contract of 4 or 5 years to a player that's 28 years old. 2 picks. And here's the 2 picks he had. He had one on a Hail Mary, and the other one was off a tip ball from Sean Lee.
What's his completion percentage throwing his weight?
It's true, though.
You know what I'm saying? Picks matter. Picks matter. But getting the ball caught on you matter more.
And in today's NFL, what are you paying for? Yeah. You're paying for guys who can get their hands on a ball. So this is another big decision. What you're looking at with Cooper, what do you weigh? Same thing with Byron Jones. What are you weighing, and then what is it going to cost you? You're going to try. He's going to probably command $13 to $14 million.
Easy, yeah.
So Cooper may want 20, and you may try to settle on $18 million. So how much do you? I just believe you're going to come down to choosing one of these.
My thing is
keeping all 3.
So just like Revis, right? So when Rex Ryan had Revis, right? The thing that Rex Ryan was able to do was plan only for half of the field. Yeah, he put Revis out there by himself, and then he was able to focus his defense on everybody else, which is, for a defensive coordinator, is probably the best thing that you can get.
That is true.
When minus not having interceptions, when you put Byron out there, that is what you get. You get where this is your guy. You follow this guy. Okay. This is your guy. Everybody else, we gonna focus on the other 10 guys.
It just kind of comes down to who would you rather have, the who's the guy from Baltimore who's a gambler?
Peters,
who
got ran up out of LA.
He gets burnt up out of LA. He makes big plays in Baltimore, but he also gives up big plays. Or do you want the consistent factor? He might not make a lot of interceptions, but he does hold his side of the field down. That's just what they got to weigh in.
Hold my side of the field down. Somebody else get some picks. Scheme for interceptions from the other guys.
All right.
Go cut number one while he on him, please.
Let's fast track through a couple of these topics right here at the end of the show. Dez Bryant is talking about a comeback, and there are some folks who want to see him wear the star again. I think Dez would like to wear a star again. Where do you stand on that?
It's 2 years out the game. That's tough to come back from. I don't know if he'll be able to do it, but
Yeah, I mean, I want to see him play. I'm no GM, so I don't know where the fit is. I know that it all depends on what they do with Coop. Then you got Gallup at number 2, so is he playing third receiver? Your third receiver is he playing? But like, what is he able to do? I want to see him get out there. I want to see him get his chance to play, because it's obvious that Dez loves football. He's been loving it his entire life. So somebody give him a shot. I don't know if it'll be Jerry and them. We know Jerry loves him, so you never know.
This is going to be a different system.
It is.
It's going to be a different system.
Different rooms, too.
So...
But you got 3 receivers. You got Cobb, you got Gallup, and you got Coop already. So somebody got to move over.
And there was my next thing is, McCarthy came out, singled out Randall Cobb at the press conference. He wants him here, and then Cobb knows the offense. And if you're Mike McCarthy, what better thing to have as a receiver who can help teach everybody else what it is you want. So Cobb is going to find a spot here. Gallup is under contract. He's an emerging player. There's no need to do anything to try and hold him back. And then you've got Amari Cooper, who they say they want back, who's Dak's number 1 guy. He's got a comfortability. So where does Dez fit? You guys know that if Dez is here, you 14th guy, you don't play special teams. You can't afford to.
Can't do it.
Not when Rick Gosselin's special teams rankings came out and the Cowboys finished 31st overall.
Can't do it.
Can't do it.
Because that puts your new special team coach in a bind.
Yeah, it does.
Yes.
You have a player who doesn't play on his teams, and he's just taking up a spot.
So John Fossil right there, you don't have Dez Bryant. I mean, you wouldn't have Dez Bryant available as special. So to me, right there, we've already taken him out.
Depending on what happens with Coop.
Yeah. If they don't bring Coop, do you think they bring him back?
I think they give him a shot.
No. Okay, here's a guy that was last time we were talking about him, he said he was going to go work with a route coach.
That is true.
And what was used against him and said, the whispers was, hey, man, this guy doesn't run precise routes.
Well, at least he listened.
But he never went to the
Okay. He might be doing it now.
He
saw the videos.
If you're Mike McCarthy, is this what you want to deal with? And, I just think that the ship has sailed. It's hard to go home. Again,
I agree.
It's hard to go home.
It might not be here, but I think he's gonna get a shot, and I think if he does, I think he's gonna shine as much as he can. I can see him making some plays.
He could be a red zone target somewhere. He can throw some jump ball. He can still win some jump balls.
And that goes to what we spoke about. This is, how does a team want to make up their roster? You want to make up a roster knowing that this is a guy who's not going to play specials for you. And these are decisions. He probably has a better shot of going to New Orleans.
He can go back to New Orleans
than trying to come here. I just don't think Mike McCarthy here is going to want to go and deal with that and everything that you've seen in the past. Versus, hey, can you go sign me and Amari Cooper, who has a connection with my quarterback? What's the one thing we saw about Dez and Dak? They didn't have a connection. They didn't have a connection.
Mm-hmm.
At this point in time, I just wouldn't want to gamble on it for some of these 2 years out the game. And you can't. And he was already an older player coming back from injuries. He's not going to be the Dez of 2014.
Right.
This is true.
He's not that same player.
This is true.
It's like a boxer, man. As you get older and you get injured, you're just not the same. And it's not to say he can't play, but it is what it is. All right, the music is playing.
We taking us out of here.
Danny McCray, Newy Scruggs, and Barry Church. We appreciate you. We'll be back next Friday right here on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!